and welcome back to the Vintage Telephones channel. Today I want to show you a telephone made by Federal Telephone and Radio Corporation. It is a model FTR802A and it's from about 1946. So this telephone, which is made by the FTR, was part of the IT&T Corporation. So you notice that it's very similar to the Belgian telephone, I can't remember the model offhand, but it's this one in particular that's from Peru. And it also looks a bit like a Western Electric 302. So this particular phone was made here in the United States, but it was specifically made for export. However, this one was made for the U.S. Army Signal Corps. But anyway, this is a dial made specifically by Federal Telephone Radio Corporation. It's also found on some of the other Signal Corps telephones, and it's a nice sound to it. This phone was actually in awful shape when I got it, and of course I knew full well that it was in awful shape because I had been looking for this particular model for a while. And finally I did. And I didn't pay too much for it, and surprisingly it arrived in one piece, and when I got it, it only had one piece of bubble wrap, and it was just moving freely around in the box. So I was like, please let it be in good shape, and thankfully it arrived safely. So here's a look at the phone. So the phone was in awful shape, as I said. Bakelite was filthy, the dial was corroded on the finger wheel, and it was frozen. And I did my best to unfreeze it, but unfortunately I couldn't because there was rust, corrosion, and I didn't want to take all that time to sand it down and get it the way I wanted to. So what I did is I scrapped the dial, and I happened to have a spare in the drawer. And so what I did is I used that one instead. It was the exact same model, so we don't have to worry about, oh, the dial wasn't original and so on. So this is the type of dial it originally had, just a different one that I had for spare. But I gave it a refresh on the oil and all that. And it was so bad, it was corroded here, and the numbers were even faded around as well. So this one was in a lot better shape. And thankfully, it had an original dial ring. The number card I made because you can't find them anywhere in the archives. So I had to recreate it from what I could see in a seller's photo of this particular number card. The font's not matching. It's like that Hawthorne type font found on Western Electric. Here's a look at the handset. This is what the company name looks like on the handset. And it looks a lot like an F1 type handset, like on Western Electric. Here's a look at the plungers. You got two here. It's one piece, but it looks like that there's two, but it's just one thing. And the bakelite is in okay shape. You can kind of see the grain. It's either water damaged or sun faded, but I did my best to get it polished up. One thing different about this phone is that it does not have a place for your number card. You would only put it on the center of the dial. Here's a look at the back of the phone. We got a very interesting carry handle. It only goes up that far, and that's all we have to work with. So it kind of goes here. Usually you'd think it would go up under there, but I guess there's a component there that they had to kind of make it a little more compatible. Compensate, that's what it is, compensate that. There's a little chip there, but in all fairness, it's meant to be sort of like a cutout for an extra mouse hole, and the the bakelite there chipped off. So I didn't think about it at the time. I could have shaved it down to look like an extra mouse hole, but I was thinking of other things. The bottom has absolutely no markings because the bottom plate was absolutely rusted through. So what I did is I soaked it a couple days in equal parts vinegar and water, and it got the excess rust off, and then I sanded the rest off, and then I gave it a couple of coats on each side of this semi-gloss paint, black paint. It's a Rust-Oleum. It's better than it was before, but you can still see you could see how much rust there was originally. And there was some original stampage in vermilion here, but in order to kind of preserve the bottom plate, we had to kind of sacrifice that, unfortunately. But I do have the original seller photos, so I will share those at the end of the video. So as I said, these telephones are made specifically for export. They were never found here in the States on any subscriber lines. This one might have been an exception because it's a signal core. And these phones aren't very easy to find either, but you can find them in various countries of South America like Peru and Mexico and Colombia and all that, because they were also used down there. In Peru, these were used along with the Belgian version, which is this one. So yeah, you originally had some cloth cords, straight line cord, it was cloth, and then a straight cloth handset cord. I made this one. This came from a German phone whose cord I replaced with something different. And the cord was so long I actually made two. I made this one and another one for another phone. And this is like a special sleeve for, it doesn't work the same as shrink wrap or shrink tubing because it kind of has a fabric bottom to it. But that came from an electrical cord that covered up some of the exposed wires where there were some connections. So that kind of worked out well. So yeah, it's a cool phone. I'm glad to have it in the collection because these aren't easy to find. You find them every once in a while. You'll find all the other ones, the Toaster and the North Electric and the Western Electric 302, and all three of those were the TP6A designated models. So this one was, this particular one isn't easy to find here in the States because they were exported. So yeah, that is the FTR802A from the Federal Telephone Radio Corporation from about 1946. So next what we'll do is we will do the demonstration. So we will be right back with the machine. Alright, first I will pick up the handset. You may not be able to hear the dial tone, it's a very low volume. And as I speak into the handset, the light changes. That means the transmitter is working. So give it a couple of pulses, and then I will dial. And finally, the ringer. Alright, so the pictures are coming up next, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching. I will see you again next time.